sister. Give her a great big amen as she comes.
Yes. The message tonight, I've been waiting for this opportunity because from the time that Kobe Bryant's helicopter went down, I began to write down stuff as I heard the story. I knew at some point it would be relevant to this church. So I wrote down everything that I thought I needed to know about it, and I closed my Bible. It's been closed on that thing for the longest. And I thought one day God is going to give me how to bring this into play because I could see it. So yesterday, I guess it was, or day before, I happened to reach in down where I keep my Bibles at and pulled it out, and I thought, this is it. This is the time. And I want you to listen to this message like you never listened before. It is vitally important whether or not you will survive your spiritual life. Nobody makes it with God without this. I want you to hear every word I'm saying. I want to take my time and get it out to you so you can see. But I want you to understand what the word says. There is a way that seemeth right to man. There's a way that looks good at the way you see it. It looks good. Cliff left that for a while, the way I see it. Man always sees things in the wrong way. When I tell you over the years, I have learned what it means to get direction from God on what he's saying. I'm going to do what he tells me. I'm going to ask his advice. I'm going to get his counsel no matter what. So, Solomon said there's a way that seems right, that looks good, looks like it's okay. Everything that seems good is not good, and especially if you're looking at it. So, when I looked at this, I thought to myself, but the end thereof of what you see will bring destruction or death in your life. That's a fact. I have never seen so many people miss out and fail God and backslid and left God because somebody told them you shouldn't do that and they didn't listen to it. When a person starts continually lying, rest assured they're backsliding. The person that's saved, they listening to what's being said. You learn from experience. People should learn in this church for what things you've seen over the years. What happens to people when they don't listen. We've seen enough of it with our own eyes right here. So Solomon said there's a way that seems right, but the end thereof are the ways of death. It's going to destroy you. I cannot say this enough to new converts. That's where you will not make it. I'm telling you, you will not make it with God unless you realize that I better do everything exactly what he's told me to do. If you deter from it just a little bit, you still got a problem. Because either you're doing it all right or you're doing it all wrong. And if you're not doing it all right, then whatever you're doing is not right. You can't do part of it. So listen to this. Moses said, and I said that this morning, show me now thy way that I may know who you are. Show me your way. Most of the time, we don't want to do it God's way. Most of the time, that's not what I want to do. Do I have to do that? Yes, you do. The reason why I'm still saved 54 years later, I listen. When I was told something, I took it for what it was worth and says, I'm going to follow that. I never questioned it. I never wondered, is this right? Or should I do this? And what about this? And what about that? I didn't go through them changes. I just wasn't going to do it. Whatever she told me to do, that's what I did. And because of it, I'm here today. Listen to this. Many people want to accomplish things in life and succeed at something, but we go about it the wrong way. Sometimes you got a good idea, a good thing in your head that's really good, but purposes without counsel always fall apart. Because the person that may have ever have such a good purpose or a good thing they got in their mind may be good. How you deal with it determines whether you're successful or you're not. Listen, sometimes we ask the wrong people and get wrong advice. Everybody wants to tell somebody something. Don't listen to the wrong people. Because if you do, They'll mess you up every time. I've never seen it fail. So listen to this. Where am I over here? Where David, no, Rehoboam. Let me look at it. See if I put this down. It's not it, it's over here. But listen to this. For the most part, when Rehoboam, I gotta find that, I got it in here. And he's talking about when they're getting ready to change leaderships here. He said, what should I do? So he went to the young men and asked them, never ask nobody your age, nothing. I will guarantee you got the wrong information. Well, he's my friend. I asked him, don't ask people who don't know. Why do we go to people asking people, so what do you think? Young people are going to tell you something stupid. Every time they do it. And some old folks do some stupid things. You ain't just got to be young. But listen, he said, told him what to do. And so if you do this, if you do this or do that, then you will have them serving you or whatever. That wasn't the way it was going to work. See? He said, they spake unto him, saying, if thou wilt be a servant unto this people this day, and will serve them, and answer them, and speak good words to them, then they will be thy servants forever. But what happened? They asked the young men, and then they went to the old men. Age gives you some wisdom. Believe me, the things I can see and understand today, I couldn't see when I was young. But as you mature, as you grow older, you start learning. You think different. You look at things different. You view things different. They're not the same. But this walk with God, you better have an experienced leader to tell you, I know from experience, that doesn't work. It doesn't work. So when they finally followed the advice of the young men, they made a mess of things. You always make a mess of things if you don't get proper people don't talk to you. So I learned early that somebody who's had an experience with God that I haven't had, perhaps you can tell me something. Somebody who's been saved longer than me, it's amazing how many people think time they get saved that, yeah, God's talking to me. You don't even know his voice. You don't even know his voice. So how's he talking to you? You don't know who the voice is. It takes time. You know what he said? My sheep, they know my voice. Not a lamb. And baby Christians are lambs. But my sheep, they know my voice, and a stranger they'll not follow. Why? Because we know the voice. You don't know it yet. You're trying to learn who God is. So you shouldn't make that kind of move. Wise counsel is always good, always good. He said unto them, ye men of Israel, take heed to yourselves that what you intend to do is touching these men. Talking about a Gamaliel dealing with the apostles. He said, you need to leave these men alone. They were trying to press them down and persecute. He said, you need to leave these men alone. He said there were some other men that rose up and tried to do the same thing you're doing. And he said, let me tell you, if the work is of God, you can't bring it to naught. You cannot bring it to naught. It won't happen. He said, I counsel thee to buy of me gold tried in the fire. When you went through the fire, come on, you learned some things. That thou mayest be rich, and white raiment that thou mayest be clothed, and that the shame of thy nakedness do not appear. Anoint thine eyes with eye salve that thou mayest see. So you can see. I see clearly. Sometimes I'm looking at things thinking, wow, look at that. I'm sitting here in church doing the same thing. Look at that. Here, what are they saying? Because everybody talking ain't saying nothing. You better know the difference in it. I got a lot of stuff here tonight. I got to wiggle my way through it. But I will get through it, believe me. See, people can see, but they can't see. They have eyes to see, but they don't see. Listen to this. Let me get over here to what happened, then I'm going to come back to Scripture. Understand, this accident that happened could have been avoided. The mess up in your life that you do, you could avoid it. You could not have to go down that road and learn something the hard way. Why not learn it just by listening? Okay? So, hold on a minute. I'm going to find my way through here. I have a lot of stuff here. It says, when that helicopter went up, number one, it should have never went up. Flying conditions says you shouldn't fly. It happened so much and so until the LA Police Department, they grounded all of their planes, all of them. Because when it's foggy like that, it's dense, you can't see. Now, what happens a lot of times is that people this pilot took upon himself to say, no, we can do this. Now, no doubt, I don't know this for sure, but most of the time when people do something stupid like that, they've already tried something stupid before and it didn't mess up. So, okay, we've done this before. Let me tell you, to this day, I ask God continually, direct me. What do you want me to do? What do you want me to say? How do I deal with this situation? I don't take nothing upon myself. And I've been in this way a long time, but I take nothing upon myself. I know I got to have God to help me. That's a must. So, listen. You're always wise in your own eyes, always. You're always wise. But you're dumb. You don't comprehend. Let me see. Trying to get to the beginning of this. Okay? He's talking about here that, number one, there are flight instructions that tell you how to fly. No matter who you are, those rules are put in place to keep you from having a crash just like they had. I talked to David briefly yesterday. He was a flight controller, air traffic controller when he was in the Navy. And we were talking about this. And so there's a minimum that's required from the traffic controllers. There's a minimum required. You do not take off under unusual flight rules. You got to wait. What I found out about Kobe Bryant, which is what a lot of people do, he was in a hurry to get where he was going. He ended up using a helicopter like you use a car. It's not built for that. Because he didn't like to get involved with all the traffic in LA, so he done everything through a helicopter. But a helicopter is not a car. So they say sometimes they tell them on the runway, look, you'll have to wait a while too, because the air traffic over LA is extremely busy. So he's telling you, okay, you got to wait, you can't go up right now. He said, even if you're Kobe Bryant, you cannot go up right now. People think because people are certain people, okay, well, that's Kobe Bryant. He wants to get up there. Yeah, but he shouldn't go. How many Kobe Bryants we got in here that just make up in their mind, this is what I need to do, and I'm going to go here. You can't do it. You can't. The rules, the Word of God has rules. It has things that tell us what we can do and what we can't do. All the rules in the Word are all good. You got to obey all of them. You can't do part of it. Because if you leave part of it out, you won't have complete victory. If you break one rule, you're guilty of the whole thing. So the word works in conjunction with us. It's used to connect one rule with another. The same way with this situation. How many people want to take off? I feel like God's telling me something. I just feel, I'm thinking, honey, sit down and be quiet for a minute. It takes time to be holy. It takes time to be righteous. It takes time to know God, and he's got to take you down the path. And if you ain't been through the fire, you don't know him yet. If you ain't been through the flood, you don't know him yet. If he haven't put you into the furnace of affliction and taught you things, you don't know what you think you know. And you know what? What you think you can stand, you can't even stand it. You think you can. See? So, once you get saved, you got to make up in your mind, okay, if I got saved under this preacher, it's sure that she knows something I don't know. She knows something I don't know. And you can quickly become airborne, spiritually speaking, and you're just out there. I've seen this happen over the years. Somebody just only think God's talking to them. God is telling me this. He's not talking to them. I know his voice. Right. So when you stand up in this church and say, God told me this, I'm thinking, no, that's not him. That's not the way he does it. I know his voice. I know his way. I know how he does it. Right. Not the way you're doing it, but how he does it. Okay? So once you get saved, don't get airborne too fast. You got to change a lot of things. You have to divert or land if visibility falls below what it's supposed to be. So it's saying that if you get up here and you get to flying and you're not sure and you can't see but you think you can, and so you can't figure it out. That's what happened to him. He got up there, he couldn't figure things out. But air traffic controller said, if he just had talked to us. When he got to that point where he couldn't see, because now he's thinking the ground is coming up to him, but the ground's not moving. The mountain is there. What he calls the ground is actually the mountain. So now he's flying, thinking the ground, he's looking at the ground, but he's looking at the mountain, and he's headed for that mountain. So air traffic control says, if he just called us, if he'd have connected with us, we could have guided him right out of that situation. Could have guided him out. That's what happened to church people. You can get guided out. You get in a bad situation. Don't think you know everything. Find out, how do I get out of this? I'm in a situation that's not good. How do I get out of it? When the devil done lied to me and messed me up, how do I get out? And he couldn't have done that to you if you just had listened. Because before you get to any bad situation, God sends a word of warning to all of us to say, don't do that. Don't go there. No, don't make that move right now. Sometimes you think something is good, and it may be good, but it ain't time for it. You got to wait for the timing of it. So listen. If you can't see, you have no way of controlling what you're coming into. I got to be able to see. So what they were saying with the air traffic controllers or the rules that's made for them is that visibility has to be good and the wind has to be calm. Because if you get caught up in the wind, it can turn you over. It can cause you not to be able to. Have you ever been on a plane and a lot of turbulence is there and it's just shaking the plane like crazy? And sometimes the pilot will say, ladies and gentlemen, we are getting ready to come into some turbulence. Keep your seatbelts fastened. You know where yours is? I don't need to fasten my seatbelt. I'm going to be okay. He said, fasten your seatbelt before you pop your head out that seat into the ceiling and knock you out. No, but you think you know, though, okay? Men does not like to obey rules. That's one thing they don't like to do. And so this pilot made a lot of mistakes, and I'm going to try to bring it all up to date. There's so much. But there is a operation and navigation of an aircraft largely relies at a point on what the pilot sees. Now, what they say, there's a time that you can fly and you can use your own vision and see where you're at. But then there's a place that you go to that you need direction. So I need to talk to air traffic controllers. Because even though I think I may know, some people say, well, I've been this pilot, he's been flying over 20 years. He automatically thought he knows everything. Pride is a bad thing. It'll make you make bad decisions, do some crazy things when you should have never went that way. Listen, number one, he flew too low. You're supposed to fly at 2,500 feet. Not more than that, not less than that. Number one, he started off too low. So now he's in a situation where you are in a danger situation from the time you started because you're flying too low. Some of y'all spiritually, you're flying too low. You can't get what you need from God because you're too low. Everybody got to move up. If you want something from God, you got to move up. Listen, Number two, automatically meant at that level he was told he had to maintain visual flight rules. Follow the rules. Or you had to follow the rules. You may find yourself in a situation where you think, well, yeah, I know the rule says that, but hey, I've done some things before not quite by the book. It is bad to make mistakes or know somebody that made it and say, well, they did it, and you know what, and they made it. It was a warning before we ever went up in that thing. If the LA police department has grounded their flights, does that not tell you there's a serious problem? But no, I feel like I can do this. You know, we've come through things like this before. Not a good thing. See? There's a way you maintain your salvation. You got to be at a certain place to maintain it, to retain this. Because I can get saved and be happy and shouting everywhere. How do I maintain that place? When I move here, how do I maintain that and don't fall on my head and can't see? How do I, when I get saved, how do I stay there? You people going, oh, I thank God for being saved. Oh, it's the greatest thing ever happened to me. Oh, I will never leave God. This is my life. Oh, I love this. I love this. What happened to them? They didn't know how to maintain it. If you don't know how to maintain, you're not going to make it. So you got to be able to remember that there's maintenance in everything. Being saved is the same way. You may get saved, but you do not maintain your salvation just off, I'm saved now. What am I going to do? Tell me the things I must do to be able to stay here, that I don't backslide after a while. That's why people backslide. Because you told them what to do, but they didn't do it. They didn't follow the rules. Understand this. You can see clear if somebody's guiding you and you're not doing it. I'm glad that God is the one who's running this ship. And so I don't have to worry about which way it's going because he's in control. If you didn't let God be in control of your life, you're not going to make it. If you don't follow what the word says do, you're not going to make it. He comes with little things that you never thought that he could build a mountain out of it. I've seen it happen. I said, you better watch, that's the devil. It's the devil, you know, it's just such and such a thing. Well, it's the devil? Yes, it is. And you can tell right there, you get ready to break your neck because you're already second guessing it. Listen to the person who has the experience, has had a time with God. They can tell you what to do. There's going to always be places in your life, especially baby Christians, where you don't see. You come and talk to somebody about it, I think, I'm listening. If I were you, I wouldn't do that. Was there anything wrong with it? It looks like there's no reason why I could do it. Don't do that. But I don't understand. It's all the time. You can't do this. You can't do that. You better listen. You better listen. So, trust in the Lord. Lean not to your own understanding. Don't lean to what you think. Your understanding is all messed up. Listen. In all thy ways, acknowledge God. He will direct your path. I'll show you how to do it. I'll show you how to get to heaven. He already knows how to get there. We don't know how, so we need to listen. So this is what he put a plan in place. If you do this, this, and this, you'll always stay saved. If you do this and this, you'll never have to fight the devil on that. If you do this and this, you'll never be in a constant warfare all the time. It ain't happening. And if you don't understand one thing, who you think you are and who you are is two different things. Two different things. Man always thinks more of himself than what he should. So understand, if I trust God for it and don't lean to what I think, that always costs people. I've watched it over the years. It costs them every time. When you come in here and you say you want to be saved, you better get accustomed to one thing. I better listen. If you don't come with that in mind, you're not going to make it. I can tell you right now, you'll be here for a while, but you'll be gone. This race is about winning to the end. I'm going to the end. Oh, what's on the other end? Heaven is on the other end. Either heaven's there or hell's there, and it all depends on what I do, who I listen to, whether I get there. I can tell you some things, many things. If you use your vision for this right here, Do not try to extend it beyond that, because you can't see beyond that. Let me show you how to, and when you get to that point, you're going to need some direction. We don't want to listen. We're going to need direction, but we don't want to listen. When the aircraft first takes off, it cannot take off at any way you go, okay? He said the pilot could have depended on radar. The Holy Ghost is our radar. It's showing us how and what to do. I see things. I remember when I talked to Barbara some time ago, and I said, Barbara, I see such and such a thing. She said, oh, well. I said, listen to what I'm telling you. Now, I don't care whether you see it right now. Just receive it, and you will immediately change. Immediately. The next service, I said, my God, Barbara, it changed. You know why? Because you listen. If you say, well, I don't feel that, that's what people say. I don't feel that. You ain't got to feel it. You just got to know the person that's talking to you feels it, and they know what's going on. Just give it a break. Understand. I see it, I see it, I see it. At all points, if you don't get to a certain spiritual place, your vision is very, very limited. You can't see very much. Because here's what I'm doing all the time. You better get your prayer life up. You better get your prayer life up. Well, how many times do you have to say that before you thinking if she's telling me that, should I keep it up? Nobody makes it without prayer. Nobody. I don't care who you are. You got to have a prayer life to maintain walking with God. You can't make it. People do it all the time. I say, you got to pray. You got to pray. Have you been praying? And I know they ain't been praying by the way they act, what they're doing. I mean, you ain't praying. The minute Lisa come home or Wanda will come home and tell me, I said they're not praying. Because if they're praying, you don't get this. When they're not praying, this is what happens to them. So I know they didn't pray. But if they're praying, they're going to be victorious. I'm telling you, they're going to be victorious. So you're not dependent on the radar. The Holy Ghost directs us and guides us. You're not dependent on it. You think you know. There's a way that seems right to you, but it's not. It's not right. Listen, sometimes we want to do something, and you think, oh, well, that's a good idea, but don't do it right now. Well, what's wrong with it? We got everything what we need to do this and do that. I mean, this is our perfect time. No, it's not. I see it. Timing is bad. You can do that. Timing is bad. Don't do it now. I don't understand it. I mean, we got everything in place. And then Sister Rose said, don't do it. Okay, Dodo, go ahead. Go ahead. You don't want to listen? Go ahead. And then they come back and they want you to pull them out the hole after they've crawled in there. The timing for them to fly was not good. May it be better if you wait a minute? Man don't like to wait. He's very impatient. I want to do it right now. You can't do it right now. See? I got to be able that when the storm comes and the clouds gather, that I'm not crazy. Right now, this coronavirus could have you stone nuts. You know why you're not nuts? Because I'm saying you don't have to be nuts. I understood Mary's testimony when she said, you hear this man said, we don't have to be in church. What? Are you crazy? Yeah, he's crazy. He's crazy. People need to be in church. I said, Lord, it would be real good if these big mega churches, half of their people never show back up. Because when I needed you, where was you, preacher? You running like everybody else running. Yeah, it's a bunch of stuff. Wait for it. Because it's going to come some storms in your life being saved. If you're not saved, we facing storms. But when you saved, the devil is planning and plotting your demise every day of your life. When you're sleeping at night, he is plotting your demise. If you don't believe it, just listen to what I'm telling you. When you sleeping and you think everything is going, I get up next morning feeling chipper, the devil already got plans for you for today. He don't sleep. You sleep. That's why I pray a lot. Where am I at, God? I wake up in the middle of the night talking to God. It's okay to give up sleep. Sleepyhead people, they'll never make it anyway. Because when God likes to talk to us in some of the weirdest hours, and most of the time there are hours that you prefer to sleep. I don't prefer to do anything of the sort because I feel like when I'm talking to God in the middle of the night, early in the morning, that I'm talking to the King of Kings. He's talking to me. No, I want to hear what he's got to say. Warning always comes before destruction. Before you mess up, warning comes. It comes again and again. It comes through the word. It comes through counsel. It comes through all these things telling you how to do this. Sometimes they don't listen. Listen to this. You don't want to be in a situation where you ignore the warning. Warning, it helps you not to make a bad decision. Okay, what did God say? Job said he speaketh once, he speaketh twice, he speaketh 3 times, and man still perceiveth it not. And so in the middle of a dream, since you didn't listen walking up around, in a dream, he reveals himself to tell you what's going on. And sometimes I just had a crazy dream. You better check it to see if it's crazy. The man at home said he had a dream that on the 15th of August, he was going to stand before the Supreme Judge. He said, I haven't done anything. I'm just going to watch it to see what that dream is. Because I ain't going to go before no judge. He went before the Supreme Judge. He died, stood before God, unprepared. But there are some dreams you may have had too much to eat before you went to bed. But there are some dreams that God sends to warn us of things that are to come. Watch this, listen to it. Oftentimes people ignore the warning. I'm not going to worry about it. If you get a warning from God, you better be concerned about it. Vitally important that you do. See? Hear the warning, then listen. I have warned so many people. The old saying is, if you don't pray, you don't stay. If you don't fast, you don't last. It is true. You got to do both of them if you expect to last. Otherwise, you won't. See? Warnings oftentimes ignored. I've called people and counseled them. You know, I feel like I need to tell you this. I need to warn you of this. When you're not praying, you make the biggest mess all the time for me to clean up. All the time. You don't do it. I'm saying don't do that. Listen to me. That's not going to work. See? Pay attention to the fog. Pay attention to the clouds. One thing I learned about the clouds as I was looking at this is they have some little tiny cumulus clouds that's very small, and they in a row like that, and they're all across there. They're little tiny clouds. You don't expect that they would be dangerous, but they appear before a hurricane. And so if you look at those clouds, you know, oh, something's coming behind this. These clouds tell you there's a warning. A hurricane is getting ready to strike. And they're very small clouds. Most of the time when you look at something that's really big, something big's going to happen, it's huge, dark cloud. Not always. Not always. But you got to listen. Listen to people. They don't have to have your education. Well, you know, I've been to college, and in the kingdom, it don't even count. It don't even count. You got to understand that I've got to hear. He said they have ears to hear, but they don't hear. Eyes to see, but they don't see. So you keep warning, and every time I keep saying to you, something's going to happen. Cover. People that didn't prepare don't have nowhere to go. So then they get killed in the midst of the storm. That's what you got to have, the place that you can hide out in God. So when the storm comes, I know I don't have to panic. I don't have to be afraid. I just go into, the Bible said God is our refuge. What do the righteous do? They run into it and they are safe. They're safe because we run to him. He's going to take care of us. So you got to understand, you got to prepare for the storm. You got to be ready to fly. But in the midst, you may have to go through some clouds. Every time I get on a plane, I notice that no matter how dark it is down here, if you get high enough, the sun's shining. It's so nice. You look down, all these dark Clouds is down there. But that plane builds altitude, and it keeps going up until it gets above the storm. Spiritually speaking, you got to be able to go above the storm. If you don't know God, you're not going there. You can't go there. Your faith is not even there. So, no, it's not going to happen. So, don't stay in such a low spiritual place until if the storm hits you tomorrow, you would fall apart. Some people in this church, it wouldn't have to be a storm. It'd just be a good wind, and they wouldn't make it. The wind blow, they wouldn't make it. Think about it. I'm used to tornadoes. I'm used to hurricanes. My life never changes. And things in my life, tornadoes never stop coming. But they don't affect me. Why? Because I spent time with God, and now I know him. I don't have to worry about anything. I am comfortable. The disciples with him and still didn't know who he was. Because in the midst of the storm, they cried out, Lord, help us. Do you care if we perish? I don't believe I'm going to perish. That's not a prayer I would pray. Thank you. I lay down at night and rest in peace. Thank you for what you've done. Hey, I don't have to worry. The righteous don't have to worry about it. You know what that pilot did? He tried to make a 180-degree turn in that helicopter when he realized he was in trouble. That doesn't work. The investigator said he tried to get out of it. When you get in so deep, you can't get out. I tell people all the time, you've heard me say this, right here, if you here, on this side, I can help you. If you get past this line here, you're beyond help. You can't bring them back. And I've said, I notice when people get ready to backslide, when they get here, they're not going to survive. Because they crossed the line. There's a line that you don't see, that I recognize, that's a line you never cross. People left this church after 20 years, 25 years, because they didn't keep it up. The devil says, I don't care what I have to do. If you don't keep it up, I'm going to get you anyway. He has patience. He'll work on people for years, planning their demise, and he accomplishes it. And you say, my God, they were saved so long. They was in the house. You got to understand, people backslide long before it manifests itself. So they're sitting on the church pew. They look okay. They still shouting a little bit. They still testifying. Gradually, you come down. Now I say, you better get up. You better get up from there. You better pray. The devil is there. Look at that. Don't want to listen. I made an example one time, and I said, this is what the devil does. When he comes to you, he don't come with something big at first. He brings something little. And you ain't paying that no attention because that ain't the devil. He's not standing in front of you with a pitchfork and a tail. No, you don't see that. He drops that. He don't worry about it because you're not aware of it. So later he catches you again. He drops another one. Now over a period of time, that thing he's dropping is going to begin to pile up. But you don't pay attention to it at the first. I see it at the first. When it first started, I'm thinking, oh, you better get away from there because this is where it's going. You don't want to believe that. Got to believe it. There is not a person, I thank God, I can say like the Apostle Paul, that I have the blood of no man on my hands. No man. If I tell you something, believe it. Believe it. It's for real. Jays used to say to people, if Rose tell you it's going to snow in August, get your boots and your coat. She used to say that. No, she with me all them years. She said, if she tells you, she learned through experience. Through experience. She said one time the Lord showed her, she was looking into a well. And she said, when she looked into the well, she could only see just a little distance into the well. She said, the Lord said, you see where your vision stopped? Rose goes to the bottom of that well. And it's true. I see the big picture. You see the little bitty one. But the big picture at the end means hell for you. So my job is to do everything I can if you'll listen so I can save your life so you won't go there. If people in this church die from heart attacks and diabetes and high blood pressure, they're doing wrong things. Wrong things brings on this stuff. And that's what they said about black people. I hate to hear that, but it's true. Most of them don't work out. Most of them don't eat right. They eat whatever they want. Sit down, eat and sit. Eat and sit. They don't do nothing. They don't move. No. I get up and work out because I'm thinking I'm going to keep moving. I'm going to keep moving until he calls me home, honey. I'm not going out like that. No. When that pilot tried to turn that plane around, what he didn't recognize, it was too late. When he made the move, it was too late. You cannot stop it. That's the way it is for a lot of people. I say, come here. Come here. You don't want to do that. Come here. Yeah, I know you said, Sister Rose, but we've done this before, and we didn't have no problem. What you did before and what you do today is vast difference in it. What worked yesterday may not work today, and you learn that through experience. Don't do it. See, he tried to turn the thing around in a matter of a few seconds. I saw that ball of fire with that plane. You don't have a body? Talking about the bodies, there are no bodies. There may possibly be some bones. There's no body. That was an inferno. It was incomprehensible. So tragic. What the devil would do with you is so tragic. He can mess you up with one wrong move, and you will never get out of it. That's why you can't afford it. You cannot afford it. A person that keeps messing up, after a while, start believing they can't do it right. Every time I try to do something, I can't seem to get with it. I just keep messing up. That's because you have messed up. I make it a point in my life to succeed at what God called me to do, because I'm not going to spend my life falling down and getting up, falling down and getting up. That's not happening. People fall down too many times, they get injured. And sometimes the injury can't be healed because they don't fail so many times in the same place. And that's what the devil said, make them fall. Make them fall. I know I don't have to fall because he's able to keep me from falling, to present me faultless. Then if he's able to keep me from falling, why am I falling? Why am I reproving people? Why am I rebuking people about common everyday things? They got in and they thought they was going to get out. The devil will hem you into a place. That's how men get messed up with women. Women with men. They put themselves in a position. Don't put yourself in a position for the devil to set you up and kill you. No. I make it a point. You couldn't put me with the opposite sex nowhere in this city. Nowhere. Nowhere. Am I concerned that I'll trip up? No. I'm just not going to put myself there. He says, shun the very appearance of evil. If it appears evil, shun it. Get away from it. I never underestimate what the devil can do, because I've seen it over the years, but I'm not letting him do it to me. I'm not doing it. When you get in a situation you can't get out, there is something called too late. Too late. He tried to climb higher and get away. He ended up going to his death. He is deceived because he can't see. So what he thinks he's seeing, he's not seeing that. So if I think I'm seeing something, but that's not what it is, the devil is the arch deceiver. He will deceive you. Tell you what, I don't think that. I'm not going to worry about it. You better worry about it. See, in life, the devil tells you got alternatives. There's only one way. You can't have an alternative to go here and go there. It's one way. One way for you to get there. See? Boy, the devil plays people for the biggest fool. He does it every day. You cannot be successful in this race if you don't train. If you don't get the proper training and put on the proper clothes, you're not going to make it. Quit believing that I don't know. God knows about everything. When you come to me, I ask him and he gives it to me. I don't have to be in your field. I don't have to do what you do. Pilate had other alternatives, said he could take it, but he didn't take it because he's proud. So he's in a bad situation because he won't consult the people who can get me out. When Peter went out to meet Jesus, when he started sinking, he said, help me. People find themselves going on, they never say a word. Ask for help. Even if you've been stupid and done it wrong, ask for help so you can get out. Because if he gets you in, you can't get out. I'm telling you, there's a place you can't get out. You've got to pay attention. If the controller can help me, that's what I am. I'm a traffic controller. I'm saying, don't get in that plane, you ignorant. You don't know how to fly no plane. Well, I think I could do it. You know, I read a lot of stuff about this flying. You think I'd be big enough fool to go out here at the airport and say, I think I could fly this plane. I can't fly a jet. And just because I read about it, because I learned some things about it, that don't mean I'm a pilot. No, I'm not a pilot. I'm not going there. Not going there. That's what I say to you. Don't go places you don't know what you're talking about. Don't do it. You got to be constrained from some things. Pull back, pull back. Listen, I'm holding on to you. Come here, come here, come here. I always know when you get out of line, what is the price for that? It's a serious price. And you may not get back. You may not survive it. You may not get up. When the devil hits some people, when they go down, they don't get up. They don't get up no matter what you say. And they almost give up the desire to fight anymore. I don't feel like fighting. No matter what I do, I end up the same way anyway. No. In this race, you're talking about heaven or hell. You better fight. You know how tired I got of fighting for the last 54 years? Never too tired to stop. No. I don't care what's going on, what's happening. I'm not so out of it and over here and over there till I don't know what's going on. I know what's happening, and I know how to fight this battle. Every battle you fight is different. Not a one is the same. That's why we have strategy. Strategy for every type of war. Since you're not familiar with it, listen. Here's how the devil's coming. This is what I tell people. This is how the devil's coming to you. Oh, this is where the devil's coming. I was on the phone this afternoon talking to a person. I thought, you're so screwed up. And I'm on this phone when I could have been taking a nap if you just hadn't lied. Why do you lie and think you're going to get away with it? You can't do it. I'm coming back on it. Because after you done lied to me, I'll ponder it. That doesn't make sense. Why did he do that? No, that don't make sense. I'm going to hold it all. I talked to this person yesterday, and they lied. And today, all day is with me. That ain't right. It don't work like that. I know it don't work like that from experience. I know that. I got on the phone. I said, no, I started to call you. No, you didn't. If you could have called me before I called you. And say, Sister Rose, I lied about that. No, I'm not. Because if I can get away with it, believe me, you tell me a lie, you ain't getting away with it. I'm coming back, I will haunt you to death. Again and again. Every time you think it's done, I call you back up. Hey, I need to talk to you about this. Hey, I need to, yeah, you know what we said yesterday? Yeah, I need to tell you something about that. You thought it was gone. It ain't gone. So they almost asked for, I told Amber the other day, I called Amber, and here's what she answered the phone when I called. Yes. I said, honey, I'm not, every call I call you is not about trouble. I said, relax. Every time. Yes, like what is it? She even got hardly no calls about correction. One or two things, very light, no rebuke, no reproof, just a few words. Amber, this is Sister Rose. Yes. Whatever it is, get it on over with. There's nothing to get over. For a minute. People don't like to hear me on the other end of the phone. You got a problem. That's the way I communicate with you. They don't want you to do that. If I've never called you and I'm calling you, there's a reason. If I talked to you the other day and you told me a lot, when I get by myself, it's like, no, I don't think so. It's not right. Let me call back. I mean, Pookie up here just, yes, I got to tell you. He said he brought his mother to this church before she died years ago. And she said to him, she's for real, Pookie. She's from the old school. Listen to what she says. She's preaching the truth. She's gone now. He never forgot it. She's from the old school. I sure am. Do I feel bad about it? You're going to almost make heaven and then miss it. Almost. That's horrible. 17 miles they were from being to their destination. 17 miles. And didn't make it. You think about that. You're that close to getting to your destination. You're going to be that close to getting to heaven and ain't going to make it. Sarah said the devil used to tell her all the time, you're going to get 99 and a half and you ain't going to make it. What a way, as crazy as she was, he told her the truth. You ain't going to make it. You're going to do 99 and a half. There ain't no way the devil going to tell me I'm getting 99 and a half. I'm getting 100% here. Yes. Understand, if I make the wrong curve, you may not ever be able to straighten it up. He made a curve, the pilot did, he couldn't straighten that curve. I'm trying to avoid this when all you had to do was ask. Just ask. It don't cost you no money. It's not like you call Sister Rose and say, oh, I got to call Sister Rose, but I'll see if I got $50 to talk. You don't have to pay no money to talk to me. I'm free. That's what makes it so crazy. It don't even cost you nothing, just a phone call. So I just need to ask you something, Sister Rose. I'm listening. I may tell you something you like. I may tell you something you don't like. And more than likely, it ain't going to be what you like. But I'm trying to get you through a situation. If you understand that when God put this in place, he put it in place because he knew you had to have direction or you're going to make a bad mistake. Every time people get ready to go through another place, God's getting ready to put them through the furnace. I'm there to tell them he's going to get you through it, though. No matter how hot the fire is. You're going to get through it. You'll get out. They said if she called you on the phone and she said, yeah, you're in trouble. I don't say hello or nothing. Yeah. Here it is. Listen. I ain't getting ready to break everything down. I hear, yeah. What is it? When she say yeah, she's coming with something I'm probably not going to like. But you'll be okay. And I'm going to surely be free because I done what God told me to do. You know, truth don't always make you feel good, but it's good for you. It's good for you. We don't understand what we're trying to get to is a lot of different areas and altitudes you got to go to get there. You just don't get up off the ground and go straight up. No plane does that. They gain altitude piece by piece. And then they finally say, ladies and gentlemen, we're flying at 33,000 feet. That's where they're going to stay. They also warn you when you get ready to be shook up. I hate flights coming into Denver. I hate it. As sure as you approach Denver, just get ready. Fasten your seatbelt. Get rid of your plate. Fold up your tray. Quit trying to eat. Because you're getting ready to get shook. I mean shook. The turbulence is so strong coming over those mountains. I just hate it. Every time we start approaching Denver, I think, here we go. I'm glad, God, you're on this plane with me, but being shook up. One time I was in a plane, I thought this thing running on the ground. It felt like it was hitting bumps on the ground. I thought we ain't on no ground. We're in the air. And It's shaking everything. Folks looking scared and eyes bucked and looking around. And I thought, I'm comfortable because I'm riding with him. If I wasn't riding with him, I would ride no plane ever, ever. And I see unsaved people get on them planes. I thought, oh, you're crazy. If God ain't with you on them planes, you need to stay off. Because there ain't no guarantee you're going to make your destination. You got a place you think you're going, but you may not never see it. It's dangerous up there. And who don't know if the pilot is drunk? That's a possibility. Could be drunk flying that plane. And you sitting back there just relaxed and reading your book or on your computer, and you don't know if he's sober or not. And we walk on there with the confidence that the pilot, he's going to get us there. I used to look in that cockpit and think, well, that's an awful little small place to be stuck in there. It's so little. And yet, they know how to maneuver that plane. And it don't take a whole big thing like this to maneuver it. I mean, this is a little tiny room with thousands of buttons. I thought I'd be so cotton picking confused. I was in that room, people would be all over the place, everywhere. It's unbelievable. Now, let me tell you something. If you want a good ride to heaven, everything you told, follow it. Everything. If you want to get to that place, heaven's a beautiful place. It's worth everything I go through, everything. Another thing, people get in a situation because they're not equipped for the journey. You gotta get it. You gotta be equipped. You gotta have on the garments. You gotta have them on. So that's why he's put on the whole armor of God, that you might be able to stand against the wiles of the devil. Sometimes people are not clothed. They don't have on war clothes. From the time you get saved, you better put them on. From the time you get saved, helmet of salvation. Gird yourself with truth. And then we don't like truth. Gird yourself with it. It's important. Every time I deal with anything, I am grateful from the bottom of my soul that I am equipped for this journey. But I fast and prayed myself to death. I can't even tell you. If I had to count the fast over 54 years, I could not count them. And I never said I fasted already. And this church have the nerve to sit there. I said, did you fast last week? Yes. Don't give it to us this week. I'm thinking, the devil's coming on your track this week. Fast, push the plate back. I don't mind. You know why? Because I know the benefits. You don't know the benefits. Oh, this is a great life. But you got to be willing to clothe yourself in war clothes and fight this war and say, I'm going to win. If I tell you you're not likely to make it, you better pray and seek God. Because everything points to it that you're not going to make it. I'm used to working with people who don't make it. That's why I told you you're not likely to make it. I can tell by the signs. I was talking to that person today. I said, if you don't change, you're not going to make it. I can guarantee you you're not going to make it. Why? Because I've seen this before. You got to maintain this place. I got to maintain prayer. I got to maintain reading the word. I got to continue to fast. Sometimes these people fasting and still messing up. You don't have to. You don't have to. God, give me a heart to listen to the word, to receive it, accept what I'm being told. If Sister Rose made it 54 years, how did she make it? One thing I found out about this situation that the NTSB had said that they need to equip the helicopters with an awareness system. And that system was that they could have warned the pilot that he was approaching a hillside in spite of the fact of foggy conditions. But they never did it. They put it off. So officially, the NTSB had recommended 16 years earlier ago, the federal administration made such a system mandatory for all helicopters carrying 6 or more passengers, but the FAA failed to act and left such choppers without it. Had he been equipped? it would have told them you headed to the mountain. But it wasn't there. Now you think they'll do it? Probably. But somebody died because of it. Think about it. I got to be equipped for the journey, and I need warning signals, and God sends them in many ways, So sometimes what I'm saying sounds like, well, does that make sense? Uh-huh. What I'm telling you makes sense, for sure. I'm going to watch it. So I keep an eye on them because Rosie, they're new converts. Amber, new converts. Keep an eye on them because the devil can ease up on them before they know it. And all of a sudden, you find, what happened? It's almost like somebody hit you with a left hook and you didn't see it coming. And all of a sudden, what's going on? You ever seen people in the ring fighting and they got a hook that they wasn't expecting and make them dizzy? After a while, they're on the floor. But if you listen, so I'm just going to follow what I've been told and listen. I can tell you scriptures throughout the Bible that people who did listen. He told them what to do. In the mouth of counselors, he said, where no counselor is, the people fall. But in the multitude of counselors, there's safety. Without counsel, purposes are disappointed. But in the multitude of counselors, they are established. For by wise counsel thou shalt make thy war. And in multitude of counselors, there's safety. Telling you how to fight it. You gotta listen to counsel. That's very important. Without that, guaranteed you won't make it. Everything that God sends to us to equip us for the journey, we can either take it or we can not take it. We end up taking evil counsel from somebody that's backslid already. Sometimes I see people come into church, they're new, and they always hook up with the person that's on their way out. I'm in the pulpit thinking, oh boy, you better get away from him. Get away from her. If you hear me call a person's name consistently from the pulpit, they're in trouble. They're in trouble. Have you noticed she keeps calling their name? Yeah, they're in trouble. But if they listen, they can get out. They can get out of it. Yeah, I'm long. I got to cut this off. So more things, but I will tell you over a period of time. Listen when I'm talking to other people, you learn from their mistakes. Say, you see that? See what happened? Listen. I don't want that to happen to me. You want to make it to the end of this race. To start it is not good enough. To go halfway is not good enough. You got to win. You got to win. And I tell you something, if I keep toiling with it and come back and say, I don't think you should do it. Or sometimes I'm just listening to people tell me, okay, but when I get by myself, me and God, no. Because it starts coming clear. Look at that. Look at this. Then I got to come back and say, I don't think you should. And most of the time they get mad. What's wrong with it? Everything. Everything. Listen, you'll go a long ways with God. Don't be like that pilot, thinking he know it all. You don't know nothing. You only know what he gives you. No more than that.
I'm glad that man, he didn't let teardrops fall. You know what? I know he'd find joy in every tear that I shed. Oh, see, and I'm glad that man didn't make heartaches. 'Cause I know he'd give me more. He'd give me more than I could bear. Oh, see, and I'm glad that man, he didn't create me